click for IB Biology, cell membranes, and facilitated diffusion. Facilitated means to assist or to enable something to happen, and diffusion, as we've studied before, is where molecules, items are moving, substances are moving from a region of their high concentration to a region of their low concentration. There's a blank version of this presentation down in the description. There you'll also find 10 questions with answers. There's also an AI prompt that you can launch into a chatbot of your choice, and that will run a multiple choice assessment, kind of graded list, individualized. So facilitated diffusion through channel proteins is our discussion. We're still in the background thinking of substances moving from a region of their high concentration to a region of their low concentration. That, of course, makes them what we would call a passive process, and that means that there's no extra energy added, so there's no ATP consumed in this process. Now, unlike simple diffusion, this form of diffusion requires the presence of channel proteins, integral proteins. So integral and channel proteins are integral proteins in the membrane. And of course, you can see here that drawn in black in the membrane, we have our protein, and the core of that protein is shown here as well. So this is going down through the center of the protein and creating a channel through the repelling layers of the lipid tail structures. So the molecules that move through this channel will be polar, they will be charged, and they'll be relatively large, and they'll be able to pass through there without ever coming into contact or being repelled by the lipid tails here. So we're still going to be moving from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. To some extent, the exchange across these channels can be regulated, and so it is possible for cells to close these pores at particular times. And so you'll recall in the description of the function of the cell membrane, controlling what goes into and out of the cell. So here we have certainly one aspect of that control is opening and closing the integral proteins associated with facilitated diffusion. Now, just a different molecule here. I used this one. The idea is that this particular molecule here interacts with the protein, which is here, and by interacting with that protein, the interaction actually causes the protein molecule to open, and the channel opens, allowing the molecules to transition across the membrane in that way. This raises an important point about facilitated diffusion, and that is that the channel proteins are specific. That is, that they regulate a particular molecule. So therefore, we've seen already the ones for water. Those are the aquaporins. There are those associated with sodium transport called the sodium gates. There are others called potassium channels. And then there are others which actually involve both of those simultaneously, a different concept though. Here's a link to the next topic that we'll deal with in cell membrane exchange, a link to the channel, and of course the entire playlist.